No Smith. Just give it a wee second. Bernard, hello Linda. Hello everyone. Sorry about the lighting at the minute, it's just, as you can see, I'm in my wee humble abode in caravan. I know I said I would do a video last night, but I just wasn't in the frame of mind to do it, so just let a wee bit of time pass to clear the head after that crazy experience that company put me through. Hey Rhonda, hey Sinead. As most of you know, on Thursday the 5th, I was arrested at 7:45 p.m. I don't know why. I still don't understand why it happened or why I'd done it. They've showed me this bit of paper trying to explain how I'd broken the law, but it doesn't say anything about them being law, so I don't understand what they're talking about. Okay. So I don't know what they were talking about at all on the night. I don't even know why they got on the way they got on, because the police had confirmed to me on the night that it was okay for us to be there and do what we were doing. So at no point did they have any right to come and tell us that we could not do that anymore. I tried speaking with the police, just give us a chance here, People suffering from mental health want to speak to each other. And that they still decided to try and rule over us, over everyone that was there. Which they had no right to do. They were getting a bit peeved off, because every time they were trying to preach regulations on the people, that the people didn't understand. It was gobbledygook. It's like babble. So nobody had a clue what they were talking about. So basically they were just walking over and trying to get people to sign these wee bits of paper, but no point signing anything if you don't know what it is. I think they were calling it a fine. It's not fined by me, and it shouldn't be fined by anybody else that got fined. If you actually look at law, regulations don't apply to the living man or woman. And this is a simple fact. And the actions that the police took that night were unlawful. The police are supposed to be sworn under a common law oath to serve under common law. What they done was, that night they operated for and under instructions of regulations put on them from, let's say, a business company, because regulations only apply in businesses. So that begs the question, then how can they try to impose these regulations on us? Well, they impose them by consent. And the first thing that the police will ask you when they're detaining you or trying to get some kind of charge on you is, do you understand? Which they were told no every and each time. No, I did not understand anything that they were doing, because you have a right to gather peacefully. It's an unalienable right. We'd done no harm. We were causing no harm. If anything, we were actually helping people communicate better in person. So anyway, this officer decided that he would just try and get things off me that I didn't have or didn't know existed. Still don't think they exist. So he asked me for an ID. Didn't know what he was talking about. Get a wee drink. I've been drinking green tea ever since I was arrested, trying to flush the bottle. So because I didn't have a date of birth, which, I don't know, date of birth, I couldn't remember any things attached, So I didn't give him a date of birth, and I had no address, I had no fixed abode. As you can see now, he was told, I live on the land, a living man, and I live in a caravan, which... Sorry, someone tried to phone me here. It doesn't have to be a girl. I'm doing a video, leave me alone, mate. Fuck me. Right, people trying to interrupt. You know, I live in a caravan and have done. I've fixed the boat for years. I haven't used any of their services. And I don't ask them for money to live. I live and provide for myself. This is my unalienable right to do. You know, it's God-given right, basically. And it doesn't have to be written down on paper. I didn't consent to anything, even that birth certificate that people think exists. I didn't consent to that. You know, so that's not me. You know, I'm of age. I can look after myself. So it's irrelevant to me. And the thing about my sentence was I could have got myself out at any time of court or out of Musgrave Street. And just because I didn't know of an address that I was supposed to have, never heard of it, or a date of birth, that's basically why they put me in jail. So when it went to court the next day, I was in the custody cells of the court. And once you go in there, it's nearly an impossible battle to fight your way out, which you're going to find out with the sequence of things that happened. So I arrived there at about 9:15 in the morning, and straight in, the custody staff man put me in, settled me in. So that was okay. A few hours had passed. It came up to just before 12, as far as I'm aware. And the custody staff man came back and opened the door, and he says, "Hey, Stephen." He says, "Yes." He says, "It says here that you're going to represent yourself." I says, "Yes, that's my call." He says, "We could speed things up a bit here more if maybe you just took a duty solicitor. We can get one for you." And, well, a duty solicitor works for the magistrate courts. And it was the magistrate courts whose battleship I was on. And I was going to war at sea. So I explained to him, "Listen, because I knew they were trying to push this on me and I knew what they were trying to do. So I told him to contact Brian Kelly, which was my solicitor. He's a very good solicitor who's worked for me all my days of needing a solicitor, for legal advice, which I'm perfectly entitled to. Regardless if I'm going to represent myself or some, I am entitled to legal advice and still go and represent myself as the living man, because that's what I am. You know, when I do a video for a recording like this, it's the user not speaking to the live living man because of a delay in the video, maybe a half a second. So that delay means that that's not a living talk or living verbal talks, agreements, so to speak. Because when you're in the magistrates, you know, you need to be very careful about the business that you're doing or that you're being coerced into. You know, you never go into bad business, and that's what the magistrates is. It's a bad business company. So, while I was downstairs, that wee custody staff man came back an hour later and asked me who Brian Kelly worked for. Now, at this point, I knew, you know, it was game on. I knew that they weren't for doing anything. I knew they were just trying to pressure me, testing my resolve as to whether I really am a living man, of strength and spirit, which I am. So, he went away and laughed with his mates. At that point, after asking who Brian Kelly was, if I give a name, it's simple. Brian Kelly, contact him. That's how it works. So, he never done it. So he came back after, say, 1 o'clock, another hour, 20 minutes later, and he said, "We can't get in touch with Brian Kelly at the minute. It's their lunch. They're on their lunch." Well, I know Brian Kelly on a friendly basis, although I haven't had to use him for years, as if I know how to obey God's law. I know how to stay within the confines of being a good human. So, he had come back to me after even the lunch hour, but about 2:45, I think it was video call that I had to do the court presence on. So he came to me at 2:45 and he says, "Right, that's you up, Stephen." So I says, "Right, well, sure, fuck it. If you can't get in touch with my legal advice, I'm just going to have to go it." So that was okay. Took me into the room, sat me down. There was a case going on already, and I had to sit and watch that case for 15 minutes before my case even came up. So basically they stuck me in that room for 15 minutes to watch the case before mine. Again, it's just a wee bit of fear mongering, a wee bit of trying to put the pressure on me. You sure you're ready for this, Stephen? Look what's going on here. Are you sure you can do business with these people or negotiate terms and conditions? But I knew in my head, you know, I'd always had affirmations in this realm that what I was doing was right. And it gave me the confidence to keep going. So the PPS, Public Prosecution Service, were on their video and doing their wee bit about the regulations and Mr. Stephen Baker doesn't have no fixed abode, which was the whole point in the first place. No fixed abode. I'm not in one of those wee matrix bubbles, you know. I'm outside on the land. It's like I swum ashore and just decided to stand on the land, stood up basically. So as they're reading them out, I just sit and shaking my head, no. And then it came to the bit where the judge comes to try and negotiate terms and conditions with me. So again, the question was asked, Mr. Stephen Baker, do you understand these charges? Which I straight replied, no, your worship. I do not understand the charge. And before I got another breath even to say another thing, it was like, right, okay, this will resume on Monday. Just left me at that, you know. So this is the point I'm making, you know, I can't, from the custody side of a court, it's hard for me to even put up a fight or to even represent the living man. They will not give you that chance in the magistrates. That's how sick and deceitful they are in their business, in their means, their ways of business. So, it was that point I knew right away, right, well, here we go. I knew the process that was going to happen. So they just took me straight up to Maghaberry prison. But on the way, before I left the courthouse, the young lad who was supposed to contact my legal advice and didn't bother, he says to me, well, sure, you can maybe use your committal call when you get up to jail. See if you can get in touch with your solicitor. But all along I knew they were just trying to get my details. Not my details, the details of a birth certificate, but it's nothing to do with me. You know, it's crap, it's Crown copyright. I can't use that, I can't go, that's illegal for me to do. So it is. It's illegal to use your legal name, so to speak, and your legal name is written in capital letters. It isn't even in the English language, it's a bastard language, it's not even recognised. Even though I've been writing in capital letters for many years. But, so at that point I knew, you know, this was it, here we go, the fight's on. So I went to jail anyway, and it was good, because I got to see the conditions that they were placing on people, the regulations that they were placing on people in their 24-hour lockup. It's inhumane on any aspect. Two young lads tried to take their own lives on the wing by hanging themselves, which is very detrimental to my health too. Not only was I locked up for 24 hours for a victimless crime, you know, there was only the claimant and me, the defendant. There was no witnesses, nothing. They just put me up and sent me to jail without the right to a fair trial. Sorry bro, I can't let you in, just doing this. I know you're looking at haircuts, I'll get in touch with you later about it. But yeah, so my legal name is, you know, I don't have a legal name. I'm a lawful man. I live in the lands, always have done. Just didn't realise how much I was the living man until about 7-8 years ago, when I really understood it. So basically what's happening now is, when I was in jail, there was some kind of hearing for me on the following Wednesday, after I'd been arrested on the 5th, sent to jail on the 6th of November. There was a hearing for me on Wednesday, which I wasn't notified of. I heard that there was a bail hearing for me on the Thursday, but the only reason I heard is because I was able to make phone calls. After 6 days, I was able to make contact with some woman who was doing a lot of effort and work for me outside and getting to the bottom of this. So basically, I wasn't invited to my next bail hearing. The bail hearing went ahead without me, and I was told the next court date was the 10th of December. So that's just pressure building, you know. That's still testing the resolve, testing my strength. And to be honest, I don't mind a wee head clearance now and again. You know, it was alright to spend a bit of time alone for so many days. But you know, when I got that phone call that told me that my 8-year-old son started suffering mental health, wondering where I was, couldn't sleep right, starting to get agitated through the day, that really hit home that I know the cause that I'm fighting for, and I have done for quite a while, but my son's mental health is most key and important to me. And the truth be told, folks, there's not a lot I could do from in there. I was writing thousands of words onto paper. I was writing letters out, at least with 1,500 words on them, with all the bills and clauses that that this system is trying to push through to take control of us. There was the Covert Human Intelligence Source Bill, CHIS for short, that allows undercover agents, police officers to commit crimes, acts of crimes like murder, even rape on people as a means to gain, investigations wins. So there's a lot of different clauses that they're trying to push through to make this legal. And Louise from Save Our Freedom spoke about it weeks ago, and as have I, but they're really still trying to push this through, and I couldn't believe it. Now, the worst thing they ever could have done was lock me up, because every day for 6 or 7 hours, all I done was watch BBC Parliament. And I know, I've been telling people for years, don't watch TV, scrub up your TV licence, but I used this opportunity to watch how all the lords, the barons, the baronesses and the archbishops all mingle about in order with the false belief that they have the right to control us in such ways with policies and their ideas of how society should be run. So for at least 80 hours of my imprisonment, all I done was watch how these things were done. Acts of parliaments and the legislations and the statutes, Acts and statutes only apply to persons and citizens. There's a lot of details that go into stuff as I'm talking about this. I just wanted to give an update of what happened with court. Now, as regards to the judge phoning up the prison, to be honest with you folks, it was a wee prank was played on me, a wee joke. The prison officers were great, they were all dead on. When I requested something, asked for it, they actually done it. Apart till towards the end when I wanted the prison ombudsman's contact number to get contact, that was withheld from me. I was getting a wee bit frustrated about that, and I took it out on one of the officers. I think her name begins with a K, but I'll leave it at that there. So I'll apologise to you, Miss K, for my outburst, but you knew what I was talking about under the Health Act and stuff that I asked you to look into. Respect goes a long way. Respect works on both sides. It doesn't matter what fancy dress outfit you have on, whether you think you can walk about the streets and just approach people and talk to them, because you can't. If I'm walking down the street and some stranger comes up, taps me on the shoulder and starts talking to me, the automatic reaction is, whoa, what's that? It's a shock. Just because a policeman does it doesn't mean the reaction should be any different. You have a right not to talk to them people. You're not a right not to engage with them. As long as you're not doing no harm, as long as you're not hurting anyone or anything. So, someone says to me, happy days, glad that that's all over yesterday. It's not over, folks. This is just a start. It's as simple as that. This is just a start for me. This is something that a path that I've been on for a long time, and unknown to them, and these coronavirus regulations that they're using have just put me in a position where that I am going to use it. I'm going to use all my instructions, also from the right advisors who have to get in contact with yet, and I will do. But I intend over my next mission is just to stay within touch with the family and friends, obviously, over the Christmas period. Then next year I can go into battle. There's many battles ahead, but you may lose battles, but I'm not going to lose this war, folks, that I promise. One thing I'll say to any of those officers or anyone that's following and watching my videos, especially the arresting officers that are abusing their powers just because they have a fancy dress outfit on, you may escape your sins in this life for your egotistical thoughts, but you will never escape them in your next life. And that's one thing I will make sure of. I'll speak to you all soon, folks. I'm sorry I haven't been able to contact everyone on a one-to-one basis yet, but I know I have a lot of information to relay to everyone as one, and it's better that I do it through videos that I'll prepare for every day, hopefully one a day, with different informations on where we the people should go. And don't be organising protests or peaceful protests. In legislation it's called a protest. It's not called a peaceful protest, but under unalienable rights, it's a peaceful protest, like peaceful gatherings. Hello, John Stewart, bro. Good to see you again. Even though I seen you a few weeks ago at your house. Yes, folks, it's on for us, you know. This is the peaceful way forward that I told you about. You know, there's no point going out and burning things down and complaining about everything else. The action is to step back. And as I said to you all 2 months ago, the final part to play is to sacrifice the person. Those at yous have already done it know what I have just done. Those in the establishment know what I have just done. I'm not the first to do this, folks. I'm the first to go public with it and make it public. And good to see you all watching. Stay tuned. Thanks very much. Speak to you all soon. Bye.